There's nothing quite like finding solutions from someone who has been in your shoes. And girl, let me tell you, I have been in your shoes. There have been so many ups and downs when it's come to my skin journey. I've experienced everything from eczema flare-ups to acne to heat rashes to just random allergic reactions to products. But because of this, it kind of forced me to be mindful of what I was putting in my skin, and it forced me to start researching ingredients and why they do what they do. Somewhere along the way, I became really passionate about it, so much so that I got my esthetician license in the past, and I was practicing as an esthetician for a while. Although that gave me a very thorough understanding of what healthy skincare looks like in practice, combining that with my experiential knowledge is what has really been the secret sauce and helping me to think outside of the box when it came to healing my skin and also keeping it healthy in practice. My biggest hope is that you stay as patient as possible and you give yourself grace, because guys, it takes 28 days for new healthy skin cells to form. So I can't in good conscience tell you your skin's gonna heal in like a day, it's gonna heal in 24 hours, it's gonna heal in 48 hours, because guys, that's just not how skin works. But what I can promise you is that you will notice immediate relief, and within 4 to 6 weeks is when you will see the real results. So please give yourself time, give your skin a fair chance, and be patient with yourself and be patient with your skin. I personally would rather you benefit from this information in the long run versus me just giving you a quick fix that's just not sustainable in the long run. I'm not a fan of slapping a band-aid on something and just going on about my day. I really want to know what's underneath the problem, and I want to know how we can resolve and prevent issues from happening again if possible. If you get a reaction to anything I share with you in this video, stop using it immediately and go see a dermatologist. I am not someone who can identify skin disorders and treat them. That is exactly what a dermatologist does. What you can think of me more as is just a skin healer, managing the overall well-being of the skin in the long run. But if you really do have a serious issue, please go see a dermatologist if you have access to that. The last time I had a pretty bad flare-up was in 2020. It was a pretty awful combination of itchy, inflamed bumps and rashes that stemmed from me wearing masks and really not taking good care of my skin underneath, which is so hard for me to admit, you guys, because honestly, I knew better, but I was also going through higher levels of stress than normal, which I'm sure maybe a lot of you guys were going through the same thing. I mean, we were all here in 2020. We all know what happened, right? But since then, my skin has been pretty steady, and that's because of the skincare routine I do now. Although I've healed my skin barrier, I've definitely had to find slightly unconventional solutions to resolving the issue because conventional solutions were not working for me. Our skin actually has 3 different layers. The bottom layer of our skin is actually subcutaneous tissue. This is the barrier between skin and the muscle. And the middle layer that we have is called the dermis. Now, this has connective tissues and blood vessels. And then our 3rd layer is the epidermis. Now, this is the outermost top layer. And you basically can think of it as our skin's protective layer. Its main responsibility is keeping harmful toxins out and helping our skin hold on to the moisture that it needs to function properly. So when that's compromised, it makes it vulnerable to damage. Signs that it's damaged can range from flare-ups with eczema, rosacea, inflammation, chronic skin irritation. It can also be caused by stress, over-exfoliating. I'm hella guilty of doing this, even pollution and extreme weather conditions. So please be kind to yourself along the way. Once we learn better, we tend to do better. We still make mistakes, and that's totally okay because we are human beings and we don't live in perfect environments. I just want you to remember that skin naturally heals itself. All we need to do is just create the right conditions to allow that to happen. Let's go through the things that I've completely eliminated from my skincare in order to help protect my skin barrier regardless of how well my skin is doing. A little important thing I do want to mention, none of these things are inherently bad, but within the context of healing our skin barrier, they actually make it a lot harder for the skin to heal, and they can be a potential source of irritation. So that is why I personally chose to eliminate these things, and I've seen very good results from doing so. The first thing is fragrances, and that's even in laundry detergent. A lot of people don't think about this, but when you wash your clothes with something that has fragrances in it, say maybe your pillow, and then you lay on your pillow, you could have a negative reaction to that. You want to keep that in mind when you are washing absolutely everything. Make sure that it doesn't have any fragrance in it. You can get fragrance-free detergents almost anywhere, but my favorite one is by the brand All. Whole Foods also has a pretty decent one as well. Another thing I've eliminated is absolutely no essential oils. Not in my face wash, not in my hydrosols, face mist, moisturizers. It is completely eliminated out of my skincare routine. Our essential oils are known for sensitizing the skin. You'd be surprised, but a lot of products actually have these added in there, which I don't know why they do this. I guess it's just like a sensory thing. Like, we like when things smell good. I prefer when something smells the way that it's just supposed to smell naturally. I'm fine with it not smelling pretty as long as it takes care of my skin. I do actually make one exception. Sometimes when I make whipped shea butter at home, I will add in some essential oils just to add a nice little fragrance. If you happen to watch that tutorial, you will notice that I did share with you guys, if you do have a reaction or if your skin is having a hard time, completely leave them out. And then I also give you an alternative to essential oils and fragrances to help give your body butter an aroma. For the most part, you just want to remember that the skin on our body isn't really as sensitive as the skin on our face, but at the same time, you do just want to be a little bit mindful. Another thing I completely eliminated is dyes. That is just completely unnecessary. You don't need that in your skincare. It doesn't benefit your skin in any kind of way, but it can potentially irritate it. The next thing I've eliminated is chemical sunscreens. They tend to irritate sensitive skin, and in my personal experience, I've been very consistent with sunscreen throughout my skincare journey, and I've noticed that when I used chemical sunscreens, I would almost always have a negative reaction to it. Burning, itching, stinging, a lot of irritation from chemical sunscreens. I've swapped that out for mineral sunscreens, and my skin has been thriving with those. The last thing that I absolutely will not use, which I used to use as a holy grail in my skincare, is clay masks. That is because clay masks are extremely drying. It's very easy to overdo it with clay masks. That's just something that doesn't work for my skin in what it needs right now, and I've already found a really good alternative that does not dry my skin out. Whenever it comes to introducing a new product, if they don't fall within the framework of what I like to call skincare boundaries that I've created, then I can't try it. After learning the hard way over and over again, it's just been such a game changer for me to create these boundaries, because then I just know what my skin can handle and what its limitations are. Even if I'm curious to try something new, it helps me to make decisions with a lot more clarity, because I have these rules or guidelines that I have to work with in order to suit what my skin needs. The first thing is less is more. It's all about getting back to the basics, cleansing and moisturizing. Second, you want to keep it simple. What do I mean by keeping it simple? I want you to simplify absolutely everything in your routine, even down to the ingredients in the product. Simplifying the ingredients is going to help you identify what's working for your skin and what is not. For sensitive skin, smaller ingredient lists tend to work a lot better. And that's because if you have a reaction to something new, it's a lot easier for you to identify what the cause might be versus a product with a very long and complicated ingredient list. And this is why reducing the variety of ingredients that you are introducing into your skin can be helpful when you have a compromised skin barrier. Less is always more. My next skincare boundary is gentle products. There should be no squeaky feeling after I finish washing my face, not feel dry and tight after I use anything at all. Whenever my skin feels like that, that's an indication that the product that I'm using is a little bit too intense for my skin and I need to rein it back. Another boundary I've created is that I only use mineral sunscreens. Chemical sunscreens absorb into the skin, breaking them down, turning them into heat, and then releasing it from the body that way. Mineral sunscreens tend to sit on top of the skin and protect it on the surface layer. When the UV rays hit the surface layer of the skin, it basically bounces bounces right back off of it. Think of it like if you're outside and you have a mirror and you hold it up to the sun, it just bounces the light back to the source. For this reason in particular, mineral sunscreens tend to be a little bit more gentle than chemical sunscreens. Again, I'm not saying that chemical sunscreens are bad. It is just a preference due to my personal experience of bad reactions to chemical sunscreens of all types. So another little boundary I've created is using lukewarm to cold water to wash my face. This is something that is so simple. Absolutely anybody could do this. It's kind of impossible for you to have a negative reaction to it. And it's kind of crazy that something so simple can be so helpful, but you have to try it. If you can't stand washing your face with cold water in the shower, you could always just do that at the sink and then keep the shower water nice and warm. Don't make that scalding hot as well, because that could damage the skin on your body. That's a whole other thing. The next thing I like to do is allow my skincare some time to absorb before going to bed. Most ideal if you could do it a few hours before going to sleep, even more so if you have a cotton pillowcase, because all that's gonna do is absorb all the products that you put on your face. And I don't know about you, but I invest a lot of money into my skincare and my pillow is not gonna benefit from any of that, okay? I am. Another way you could avoid having that issue is by sleeping on a silk pillowcase. I absolutely love silk because it's not an absorbent material. It also creates less friction, so there's a lot less rubbing. It's a little bit more gentle on your skin versus having cotton that does create a lot of friction and it absorbs everything. My last skincare boundary, which is a little bit cheesy, is patience. Patience is so underrated. Like I mentioned to you guys before, it does take 28 days for new skin cells to push to the surface. Once a change is made, you have to make sure that you are consistent for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Don't try it for a week and then throw it to the side or give up. You have to be patient with your skin. Everybody's skin recovers differently. There's a chance that all of us are at different starting points with the skin damage, so you also don't want to judge how long your skin is taking to recover. I want to emphasize is always do a patch test in the same area of skin before you use it on your face. And this applies to if you're trying something new, or even if it's something that you've been using for a while but all of a sudden your skin freaks out. That would be a good idea to patch test it to see if that's what's creating the reaction in your skin. For example, a few months back I tried a lip mask. It seemed like my skin was doing okay with it, but after about 4 days of using it consistently, my skin freaked out. My lips were blistering, they were swollen, they were burning, like they were on fire. I basically had a delayed allergic reaction to that lip mask. There's a possibility that if you try something new, that could also happen. So I want you to kind of play it on the safe side. This does include natural things. Don't think just because something is all natural that it's not possible for you to have a negative reaction to it. The lip mask that I tried was made from all natural ingredients. That's not something that will guarantee that your skin won't have a reaction. People can be allergic to strawberries and the strawberries are all natural. It doesn't mean that strawberries are bad for you. It means within that context of the person that is allergic to the strawberries, they can't have the strawberries. That's it. We have to be mindful of how our skin is responding and keep watching for signs of irritation. Real quick, I'm going to show you guys how to do a patch test. Now, typically you want to do this in the crook of your arm. You can do it in other spots, but this is a really good spot to do it. So all you have to do is just follow the directions on the packaging. If it was a cleanser, you would just wash the area as you would any other cleanser. Rinse that off, do it twice a day or once a day if that's how often you wash your face. If you are trying out a face spray, then you would just spray the area and let that air dry every day. Closely watch how your skin is responding and how it's reacting to the product. You want to repeat this process 7 days straight. If you have no irritation in this spot where you've been putting the same exact thing day after day, it's more likely that your face won't have a reaction either. I'm going to be patch testing the oatmeal mask so that you guys can see how I do it. This was one of the areas where I used to have really bad contact dermatitis, so this is a pretty good place for me to patch test. It's one of the most sensitive spots on my body. I could do this over 7 days, but it's not necessary for me because I have already used this on my face for a long period of time and I know my skin does very well with it, but this is just for the sake of demonstrating so you know exactly what to do. I'm going to set the timer for about 15 minutes here. and then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like when it's dry. This is what it looks like. It's 100% dry. So now it's time for me to rinse this off. And I'm gonna do so with cold water to make sure I'm not causing any irritation in this area. Here's my arm after. Now there is a little bit of redness just because that's just kind of the tendency of my skin. It is very, very sensitive, but my skin feels very soft. It feels super hydrated. It looks pretty good so far despite the redness that I'm having, which should calm down within a couple of hours. If you're wanting to do this with rolled oats, just don't. It could scratch up your skin, so that's why I don't recommend rolled oats. Only colloidal oatmeal, because that's the most gentle on the skin. It's finely ground, and if you are allergic to gluten, you want to make sure that the colloidal oatmeal that you get is gluten-free so that you are not having an allergic reaction to that as well. Now I'm going to share with you guys the products that I personally recommend and what I have been using. As a baseline of the skincare routines, you definitely want to keep at least 3 to 4 products to complete them. The first thing you're going to need is a cleansing oil. The second thing you're going to need is a soap-free cleanser. And the last thing you're going to need is a thick face cream. And I will add on top of that, you will need a sunscreen as well for the daytime. Because our skin can be damaged by the environment, it is vital that you properly cleanse the skin every single day while still protecting the ceramides that act like glue to hold our skin cells together. For your nighttime routine, the first step you're going to do is oil cleanse. It's best if you use an oil that's just one single ingredient, not something that has like 50 ingredients in it. One single ingredient is more than enough to do the job. In fact, it may be superior to having an oil cleanser that has 10 to 20 ingredients. The oil that I absolutely swear by, that I've been using for over 5 years, is just organic hemp oil, because it is rich in fatty acids that help to repair the skin barrier. And not only do these fatty acids help to repair the skin barrier, but they also lower inflammation in the skin. You should be able to find organic hemp seed oil at a grocery store. And if you can't, I got your back. I will link below the one that I've been using. The second step in your nighttime routine is to go straight into your cleanser. The cleanser that I've been loving and using for probably like the past 8 months at this point is the Tower 28 SOS cleanser. This one is amazing because it's accepted by the National Eczema Association. It's pH balancing, gentle, yet also very effective at removing makeup and buildup on the skin. And it also doesn't strip your skin of moisture all at the same time. It is an incredible cleanser. I cannot say enough good things about it. I absolutely love that brand, and I'm actually using their tinted sunscreen. That is exactly what I'm wearing on my face right now. Every single thing that I've tried from that brand has worked beautifully for my skin, which is saying a lot. The last and final step you want to work into your routine is your thick face cream. Now, the one I love to use is by a small business, and it's called Gypsy Cream. You can also find it on Amazon. This cream is amazing because it contains hemp seed oil, and like we said earlier, right, hemp seed oil helps to repair the skin barrier. It also has aloe vera, which is excellent for preventing transepidermal water loss. It soothes and it hydrates the skin on a very deep level. The final star ingredient in this cream is shea butter, which is excellent for moisturizing the skin and trapping the moisture in. It adsorbs instead of absorbing into the skin, so it will just sit on top of the skin. This is exactly what we want when it comes to finding a very good moisturizer. A little disclaimer though, this cream is not perfect. It definitely comes with its drawbacks. I have noticed that there have been texture issues. What I've had to do is melt it down and mix it around to solve that problem. I compromise with that because this is the only face cream that has simple, high quality ingredients that actually make a difference and deeply hydrate my skin without causing irritation or breakouts. If you're not okay with that, which is totally understandable, and you still need a moisturizer, you could check out the Tower 28 moisturizer. That one is specifically designed to help repair the skin barrier. Although I can't vouch for that specific product, there are also reviews that you could do your own research on if you want to take a chance on something new. With your morning skincare routine, you have 2 options. You can skip washing your face in the morning if you are not a night sweater like like I am, and if you don't sweat during your workout in the morning, if you do work out in the morning. First step is to rinse with cool water. The second step would be to use your thick face cream, and the third step, just put on some sunscreen. I tend to sweat in my sleep, and I also sweat during my morning workout, so rinsing my face with just cold water leads to irritation due to me not actually cleansing the sweat properly. I just go in with the same Tower 28 cleanser. This morning routine is something that I stick with because it keeps it properly hydrated and protected until I get to my skincare routine at night. Regardless of how damaged your skin may be, I want you to start at the most basic level of the skincare routine for at least 2 weeks before moving on or adding anything else in. It's really important not to hop back into a very complicated routine too soon. Way too many changes in your skincare routine can potentially aggravate the skin further, so you want to be really careful. Completely hold off on using any actives in your skincare routine, so anything like salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide, and retinols. You also need to give your skin a chance to show and feel whether something is working for it or not. And how we find that is by not overwhelming our skin with too much product and giving it a chance to breathe with more simple routines. As you get into it, maybe about 2-3 weeks, that is a really good time to start exploring some safe and gentle options that help to repair the skin barrier, which I'm going to show you guys a little bit later what I like to use for that. After 4 to 6 weeks, if you were using actives, you could slowly integrate them one at a time. Over the course of a few weeks, pay attention to how your skin is reacting to each and every product. Do your best to improve your self-care regimen, like getting more sleep. Keeping track of your water intake is very helpful. Adding in anti-inflammatory foods can support your skin from the inside out. And try to find new ways to release stress out of your body. All of this contributes to the overall health and quality of your skin and your overall well-being, so why not? This video was getting a little bit long. I just wanted to make sure I squeezed in every single detail that I could think of. I decided to make this into a mini series. In the next video, I'm sharing how to build off of these basic routines to amplify healing your skin barrier without irritating or overwhelming the skin. So if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss out on the second part of this series, and I will see you guys next time.